Moto Racer is a fun arcade motorbike racing game that originally saw a release on the PlayStation 1 back in 1997. And this game later did get released on the likes of Windows PC. Straight away from the get-go, the one thing that really is noticeable about this game is its visual representation and the overall quality. For a game that was released in 1997, the graphics are quite groundbreaking and also breathtaking in terms of the visual quality that's on screen. You have access to different game modes, from time trial to multiplayer or even with a championship. But where this game really stands out is its gameplay modes and style that's on offer, because it's not just one style of game. Technically it's two games in one, as you have access to superbike racing throughout the championships, but then you also have access to motocross style events where you can go off-road on different types of off-road style tracks and environments. So with the likes of the superbike modes, you race like very high powered bikes that can go super fast, and the off-road segments you race as scramblers, although they are fast but they wouldn't be as fast as the super bikes. But again, they allow you to go over different types of terrain and to do massive high jumps, and you can pull off stunts along the way. One of the really unique aspects about this game is the fact that the sheer sense of speed that the game offers, on top of that the unique visual style, and the gameplay never really slows down. The frame rates pretty much stay consistent throughout, and there is a little bit of pop-up, but it's not severe compared to other types of racing games on the PlayStation 1. So for a 1997 game, this is quite incredible in terms of what it was able to offer. But even with the gameplay, it has great handling physics, although it can take a little bit of getting used to, especially when you first start playing the game, as the handling can be quite twitchy on the bikes that you're using. But after a while, once you've put in a few races and a bit of time, you will get used to the tracks and you get used to the feel of the vehicles themselves. And you do have access to a number of different bikes, both with the superbike category and the motocross bikes. In terms of the handling characteristics, some can have better acceleration while others can have less handling or less grip per se, and they can all influence your gameplay style, so there's definitely something there unique for everybody. Now if you're more of a conservative or cautious type of gamer, you will opt more or less for the bike that has a good consistent flow in terms of top speed, acceleration and handling and traction. So that's usually the type that I would go for with these type of games, and it would be consistent for my personal play style. But there is enough unique gameplay elements with the bikes in the game that will cater for all your individual needs. But it's just the visual graphical style of the game is just mind-blowing of what is offered. The fact is that the game can run at the speed that it's at, and it doesn't really dip in performance at all, and still looks as well even today going back to play it as it's ever done. That's what's quite incredible about it, and it is one of those unique pick up and play racers. Even after a few minutes, even after myself having not played it for quite a number of years, going back to play this, it was like a breath of fresh air. I've forgotten how good the game really is, and it was only bettered essentially by its sequel, Moto Racer 2, which again did offer a lot more in terms of modes and more tracks to play on. As with the championship in Moto Racer, you have essentially a mixed championship where each race transitions from one mode to the next. You will start off with a superbike race, then you will go into a motocross race, then back to a superbike race again, and it just continues throughout the entirety of the championship. So what will happen is you'll have 8 general races in total, varying from different locations, from like Scotland to the likes of even Spain or France or USA. And once you complete that variation of the championship, then you will play through it again, but in turn will play it in reverse mode. So you'll play all the tracks again, but you'll be going the opposite way instead. So that just increases the longevity of the campaign itself. But you do need to play through those modes in order to fully complete the entirety of the championship itself. So you'll be playing it for a good hour or more just to get through everything that the game has to offer. Now it is quite short in most respects, but you will have a blast doing it, as again the gameplay is very fun, fast paced, it's frantic. It will take a few tries to get used to everything when you're first starting out, but once you get familiar with the controls you'll master it and you'll have such a blast playing it. Coupled with that, with the likes of the unique gameplay, the fast paced nature, and it even does have a good soundtrack that also does reflect that of the gameplay. But it's really just the visuals that really steal the show flow in the game. It is definitely one of the most visually impressive racing games on the PS1, hands down. And for a game that was released even before the days of Gran Turismo, it really showcased essentially what the PS1 was all about, and it showed that the PlayStation 1 had a lot more to offer than what we initially thought at that time. So it's definitely one of those unique arcade experiences that I highly recommend you try out. I remember going back my first experience with this game, and it was actually on one of the monthly demo discs that came with the UK PlayStation magazine, and I thought it was brilliant. I couldn't get over how good the game looked, and it was just so fast paced and was frantic, and I remember playing that demo quite a bit at that time because it was just so different to everything that was available then. But that's why I love the PlayStation so much, because the more I played it, the more games I got to experience, even through the demos, the more you got to see what was on offer. But each new experience brought about something new. It left you with something pretty much in your imagination or ingrained in your brain that you would never forget. It was such a unique time for experimentation within games, and for me that's why it is my favourite console, because it really does have something for everybody, good and bad. There was something there that would appeal to all different types of audiences, young and old, and this is no exception. So even coming back to playing Motor Racer all these years later, what do I think of it now? Is it still as good as I remember? And honestly, in my own personal opinion, yeah, it is. It's definitely one of the best style of racers of its kind on the PlayStation, hands down, but it's also one of the best arcade style racers on the PS1. That's one of the greatest things about it. Not only does it have a great visual style, but the thing it captures the most is the arcade quality of everything that the game has to offer. It really does it so well. So if you really are looking for an arcade style racer on a console platform, you won't go wrong with the early Motor Racer series, especially the first two games. So I highly recommend that you do go and check them out. You won't be disappointed. They're really fun games to play, and there's definitely enough elements in them to keep you playing for quite a while. And I would love to know your thoughts on Motor Racer for the PS1. If you have played it yourself back in the day, what stories or experiences do you have to share with the game? Did you enjoy these games equally as much as I did? And do you enjoy arcade style racers or games of this type of quality? I'd love to hear what ideas you have in the game, so be sure to share it down in the comments below. And if you would like to see more of these type of videos where I do cover a lot more of these unique arcade style racers that were released on the PS1, make sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel and hit the bell to be updated when future videos are released. And if you would like to see in the meantime more types of arcade racers that were released on the PS1, which I have covered already on the channel, then be sure to check out this playlist here on screen to see more of those games in action. And until next time, make sure to keep playing those classic games and enjoying them, and keep those gaming memories alive.